In this video, I'd like to use my book, The Introduction to Turk's Head Knots, to show how to tie a 10-part, 8-bight, 2-pass, type 2 pineapple knot, tied from a 5-part, 4-bight casa knot. And a type 2 knot has the primary knot, which is your biggest of the interweave knots, on bight boundary 1 on one side and bight boundary 2 on the other side. But another thing is, if it is a type 2, it has 2 knots of the same size. Whatever the primary knot is, there'd be 2 knots of the same size as the primary knot. So with a 2-pass type 2, both the primary knot and the interweave knot are the same size. Now, in my book, as you can see, I have a drawing of the tying the primary knot, and this is the interweave. But down here at the bottom, I drew out the algorithm diagram for tying the 5-part 4-bight casa knot, which is the primary knot. And then over here, I drew out how you set up an algorithm diagram for tying a pineapple knot. And so I want to use those to tie this knot. And I wrote it down on this paper so that we can it'll be a little bigger and we can see it. And I also wanted to as a kind of a reminder, show the formulas it takes to set up this algorithm diagram. Those formulas are parts divided by bights equals N plus the R, which is remainder. And the other formula you use is bights minus R equals V, which is the count value. And we've got a 5-part, 4-bight knot, so 4 will go into 5 one time with a remainder of 1. Now we have 4 bights minus our remainder of 1 equals 3. This is our count value. And we put 4 dots for the number of bights, and the far left is the outside bight boundary or outside column. And then we go from there and count over whatever our count value is. So we go 1, 2, 3, and we put a 1. Then we go 1, 2, 3, put a 2. 1, 2, 3, put a 3. And you do that until all of the dots are covered. The next step is to draw in the coding. And the number of coding is 1 less than the number of parts because of the strand doing the traveling over the coding. Now, above the coding, we write down our count value numbers. And on this side, the 0 is the bight boundary, so we don't use it. So we start on the second one in, and we go 3, 2, 1, and then we come back around 0, and we would repeat however long the knot was. Now at the bottom, going from right to left, we start with the second number, 3, 2, 1, and then 0. Now that's all you need is those 3 lines, but for convenience, I like to write down what the over and under is above and below so I don't have to decipher the coding. And going from left to right, that would be an under. That would be an over. That's an under, that's an over. Going from right to left, that's an under, that's an over. That's an under, that's an over. So I wrote them down. Now, let's tie that knot. And The first half cycle is always a free run, and that is going across the top. Now, the second half cycle is going across the bottom, and we look for the 0, and it's right there, so we have an over. Now, on half cycle 3, we're going across here, and we're looking for the 0. It's right there, so we have an over. Now we're looking for the 1. It's right there. So we have under, over. Under, over. See? Under, over. Now we come around here to our standing end. We're going across the top from left to right. We're looking for the 1. So it's under, over. And as you can see, we're just laying our tracks alongside of our standing part. Now, we're going from right to left, looking for the 2. So it's over, under, over. Over, under, over. And that just laid our tracks going down the other way. Now, we're on the top, looking for the 2, which is right there, so it's over, under, over. And we are just splitting our tracks. Over, under, over. Now, we're on the bottom, looking for the 3, so it's under, over, under, over. It's under, over, under, over. And that completes our 5/4. And I just put this in here alongside of our standing end to finish that bite. Now, I've kind of got it a little twisted, so I want to straighten my knot up here a little. Get all of the slack out. And you want to make sure before you start your interweave that everything is straight. And these squares are a box. They're the same size all the way around. Okay? Now, let's go over the algorithm diagram for doing a pineapple knot. First thing you need to know is the number of passes. A equals 2. A is the number of passes. And then it's a type 2 pineapple knot with 2 passes. So this interweave is on left bite boundary 2 and right bite boundary 1. So L equals 2, R equals 1. So if we go up here, L minus 1 would be 1. A minus 1 would be 1. So A minus 1 is 1, A minus 1 is 1. R minus 1 would be a 0. Down here, R minus 1 is 0. A minus 1 is 1. A minus 1 is 1. A minus 1 is 1. L minus 1 is 1. So now that we've got these numbers, we know this is an under 1, over 1, under 1, over 1. So let's tie this first run. And we know that we've got to be on bite boundary 2. So we've got to go under 1 to get to our bite boundary 2. And then we've got to go under 1 to start the weave. So there's an under 2. And now we're following the right-hand side of our primary knot. And we're doing over 1, under 1, over 1. Where that's a 0, that's isn't anything. Okay. So over, under, over. And when we do a type 2 pineapple knot, where we're going out here, normally you always, the last crossing, you turn and go back in right alongside of the last strand you come out of. With a type 2 pineapple, you've got to make a nested bight out here, so we got to skip one bight. And if I was writing a run list, I would put SOB and then start writing the overs and unders. But that would be an SOB. Skip one bight. Now, we're down here at the bottom. This is a 0, so it's nothing. And we're looking for a 0, so there's our 0. So our coding, that's an over, so that turns into a 2. Because whenever we mark the number, the count value that we're on, that adds 1 to this number. So our over and under coding for our run list would be over 1, under 1, over 2, under 1. So we skip our bight, over 1, under 1, over 2, under 1. Now we turn. We're up here at the top. We're looking for 0. It's right there. So that makes that an over 2. So we got under 1, over 1, under 1, over 2. Under 1, over 1, under 1, and over 2. And also, if I was writing out a run list on the far side of, after I skip one bight, right here I make an inside bight. So I like to put MIB for make inside bight. Okay, so we're going to do our skip outside bight. And we're here at the bottom. We're looking for 1. So we've got over 1, under 2, over 2, under 1. Over 1, under 2, over 2, under 1. Now we're at the top, looking for 1. It's right there. So that's going to be a 2. So we got under 1, over 1, under 2, over 2. Under 1, over 1, under 2, over 2. Okay. We skip outside bight. And we're looking for the 2. So that makes that a 2. So now we're going to go over 2, under 2, over 2, under 1. Skip outside bight, over 2, under 2, over 2, under 1. Now we're on the top, going left to right, looking for 2. So that makes that a 2. So we got under 1, over 2, under 2, over 2. Getting a little aggressive there. Okay. Under 1, over 2, under 2, over 2. Now we're at the top. We're going to skip outside bight. And now we're looking for 3. So there's our 3. And so 1 plus 0 is 1. So we've got under 1, over 2, under 2, over 2, under 1. Okay, we skip the outside bight and do under 1, over 2, under 2, over 2, 1, 2, under 1, and that brings us, that's the standing end of our second knot, and that brings us to it. So I just go out under all of it to finish the knot. I could turn and come in there to make a bight underneath there, but I just went out. That completed our 10-part, 8 bight, 2 pass. And the 2 pass is the over 2, under 2. Type 2, because the primary knot is on, that's on bight boundary number 1 on the left, is on bight boundary number 2 on the right. And another way to think about it is you've got 2 knots that are the same size as the primary knot. So it's a type 2 pineapple knot. I hope you will try to tie this knot, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching.